part of like, that's why a big part of my model is just giving people the tools to learn and heal themselves, like to mend their wounds. I'm very big on, I'm not your healer, I'm not your therapist, I'm not none of that. What I'm giving you is knowledge, right? What I'm giving you is wisdom to be able to take yourself through those dark moments. And of course, reach out for more professional help in terms of like, reach out to your doctor, psychiatrist, your therapist when needed. But like I said, everybody's gonna have their moment where they gotta leave the office and you gotta deal with yourself on your own and unlearn those habits. How you unlearn a habit, you keep practicing a new one every day. You keep going every day. You know what I'm saying? That takes yourself, takes your mind, your will, your drive. You can never underestimate that.
Yeah.
And I was saying something earlier where the worst thing you can do to a people is to make them feel like their future is just so hopeless because of this system.
So welcome back to the That's All Monday. Here are my host, Jorie. What's up? We dapping? We doing? What we doing?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, too. We can do that. We can do that. Okay. Yeah. So her and I, we have a thing where like she does, and I don't do that. I just do.
And I'm not gonna
We can the whole into the. Yeah. I was like, I don't do that. Yeah. That's the middle. That's the middle lane with us. So, all right. Mending wounds.
Yes.
Is it an org? Is it a movement? Is it a campaign? Is it a way of life? What are we mending exactly?
Yes. Just because you just described all of it. It's a way of life, but structured really as an organization, as a practice where, you know, I got my degree in public health, so I understand a lot of health promotion, behavior changes that need to be made in order to live an optimal health life of like just the best health and well-being that one can achieve. And when I say best health and well-being, that doesn't mean you ain't gonna have bad days, doesn't mean you're not gonna have moments. It simply means that you are living in your highest alignment, right? You are living a life that you are proud of, that you are happy of, and you are just showing forgiveness, compassion, and grace to yourself. So really, it's a way of life, and it's providing people the resources to even recognize that as a way of life, a life that can be achieved and attained for them. So Mending Rules is a healing-centered organization that's really focused on providing wellness and healing services to women survivors of generational trauma. So that really includes offering them mental health resources and also really educating them about what it means to heal daily and what it means to incorporate wellness into your daily routine. So that way they feel empowered in knowing how to take care of themselves even when certain resources may not be available.
Okay. Do you have a plan of execution for this organization? Is it like folks hit you with email and you're like, I got this service, this service, this service, this service. Do you like candles? We have sent this. How does that go for you?
Yeah, for sure. So really it started off with a lot of digital marketing just because, you know, my generation is TikTok, Instagram, you know what I'm saying? We gotta, So it started off with that, and then I got a lot of success on that. So it just made a lot of sense to have social media be a platform that allows people to learn more about my organization and me as a person. And then from there, just creating this funnel where, okay, I'm hosting a free webinar. If you're interested in these types of services or interested in having a specific question you have answered, like, so for example, hosting a webinar on healing trauma through mindfulness, right? And educating people on that. And then from there, showing them the programs that I have to offer. And if that's something that can be capable of them or just aligns with them the time and space, that is pretty much it. And the same kind of goes with in-person networking, where I'll likely meet a person, introduce them to what I do, and also hear them where they're at in their journey and see if our paths align. A lot of it is really based on alignment.
Okay.
Have you thought about doing like a women's celebration, like an in-person women's networking event where everybody comes together, we laugh, we cry, we hug, you know, that way everybody is in a healing space together, and that's another way for you to fill out your brand. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, for sure. And just because I feel like in person is always going to be better than digital, you know what I'm saying? And also like going to places like adults and seeing like these circles of healing being facilitated and how empowering it can be to people. I could definitely see that be something in the future. Yeah.
What does healing through mindfulness look like? Like if you could give me a step-by-step or a play-by-play walk me through that. Because, like, I tell people, hey, y'all gotta be more mindful.
Right.
Folks be like, I am mindful. I am, yeah. Whoa, you don't gotta argue with me.
Right.
Mindfulness is a process, and technically, it's a physical thing that you apply to your life slowly, because you kind of figure out, oh, I'm missing this. Oh, I'm not really good at this. And then you realize, oh, that's what mindful actually looks like. So I want to hear what your steps are.
Yeah, a first step of mindfulness is acknowledging that you have been in survival mode, right? Because to be mindful is to be able to sit down, to be present and look around you and be like, oh, like, I'm looking at the art, I'm looking at the trees, I'm recognizing my emotions. But you cannot do that if you don't have the space to be present. So the truth about mindfulness is that, for example, when I was going through, I kind of had a violent upbringing. When I was going through that upbringing, I'm dealing with a lot of anger, I'm dealing with a lot of grief, I'm dealing with that pain directly. If somebody told me, you need to sit down, be mindful, breathe, I would have been like, bitch, shut the fuck up, because you don't know what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm currently going through it. So mindfulness is, I don't want to say it's a privilege or a luxury, but to an extent it is, because we got to be real, right? If you're in the midst of your trauma, telling somebody sit down and breathe in confidence, baby, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm going through it, right? So to be mindful is when you have left that environment, right? And now, but you're still operating in survival mode. And you're like, dang, well, this person ain't in my life no more. I'm not going through this pain no more. I'm not getting abused, or I'm left that job, but for some reason something don't feel right? Something that I pray to be in this moment. Now I'm in this moment and I still don't feel content. I still don't feel that mind, body, soul alignment. So mindfulness is essential at that stage, because that's when the healing really begins. It's not when you leave the environment. It's when you leave the environment and you're able to pay attention to the habits that you have gotten out of being in survival mode. So mindfulness, you acknowledge it. All right, I'm in survival mode, and I need to slow down. I need to figure out who I am, what I like to do, literally, it's them two questions. Who are you and what do you like to do? And what habits have you gotten from the things that you've been in survival mode through? And you can do that in a place of therapy, but also you can't underestimate just the role of introspection and self-reflection in the healing journey. Because at the end of the day, how long is a therapy session, right? 60 minutes, 90 minutes, once a week?
Like 50.
Yeah. Once a week?
Yeah.
We talking about years of trauma. That ain't gonna fix nothing. Well, it is, because it's
gonna take time.
But it's gonna take time. And at the end of the day, one thing I realized in my journey is that therapy, 10 out of 10, loved my girl down. You already know, like, I love my girl down, Miss Michelle. She got me right. But at the end of the day, Miss Michelle, this is her profession, right? So when it's 10 at night and I'm going through it, I can't call Miss Michelle. I tried the suicide hotline before. Dang, you know what I'm saying? I done tried so many hotlines. It really came down to me and my mental and being able to create my own wellness first aid kit. All right, so when this is going on, let me write, let me journal. From there, let me put on some healing frequencies. Let me, in the morning, when I get up, let me pray. Or if you're not a prayer or somebody who's more spiritually inclined, let me say some affirmations, right? Let me learn how to fully take care of myself in the moment so that I can continue to live in the moment. Yeah. Because I read this quote, a lot of times people are suffering memories from the past or imaginations of the future, right? And that's real, because we just live in a society that to be able to breathe and sit in and take in every moment, we told to hustle and bustle all the time. We don't live in a society that teaches you how to be mindful, how to be present, how to be aware. So once you acknowledge that, you do that introspection. Who am I? What do I like to do? What habits have I taken on? And then that's when that future thinking works. Well, who do I want to become? And what steps do I need to take to be that person? Because I notice I'm a very angry person. So now let's lock in. What triggers me? What triggers you? And we know our triggers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of introspection. It's a lot of wellness working, right? Because the mind, body, and soul has to work together. You can't talk about mindfulness without talking about physical health, spiritual health, and mental health, because at the end of the day, you need them all.
Yeah. I wonder if you do know our triggers. Like, it's hard to identify that sometimes. Like, you get triggered and react before you can identify what happened to you that's seeing you there. I think that's part of being mindful too, is just like sitting down and thinking, why did I react that way? You know, like, what was it about that particular person that made me punch them in the face, or, you know, whatever.
One of my triggers.
What's one of your triggers?
I went home this weekend for
Oh.
my mom's birthday. She met me with it like as soon as I got in the house, and I was like,
Yeah.
girl, sir, I got home, right? I don't mind helping people out, but you got to give me a heads up. Don't present a project in front of me and I didn't get to mentally prepare, especially when you knew that was probably going to be a thing when I got through the house. So right now, you remember that situation I told you about where I was like, I got like a whole financial situation that I helped my parents out with? It's way bigger than I thought, right? It's so big. When I got to the house, it was actually happening as I got there. So I came there and it was like a whole bunch of construction in front of the house. Like you had Migos, you had towers built up. They were replacing things. And I was like,
You think they planned it because they knew you were coming?
oh no,
Oh.
I walked in on it.
Oh.
My dad didn't tell my mom, and my mom didn't tell my dad that I was coming there for her birthday. She forgot I was coming. She thought I was coming on the day of. He thought I was coming on the day of in the afternoon. And I was like, nah, I'm coming the day before. And neither of them communicated. That tells you what the relationship is, right? So I pull up. Migos see me. Hey, what's up, Migos? Migos, hey, what's up, random black person? I said, oh, I'm her son. They said, oh, okay, cool. Go in, put my bags down, go to sleep for like a couple of hours, wake up. She says, hey, you in the house? I say, yeah, what's up? Come downstairs. Cool. Go into the basement. Okay, cool. She said, hey, so we're going to move all this stuff that's in the basement into the garage. I look and I'm like, huh. Did you know I would be doing this? She said, yeah, but it's just a couple of things. I was like, that's not what this is. Did you know that when I came here to celebrate, because I'm in celebration mode for you, I was going to be putting to work because slavery is dead. We got to negotiate this. So I go outside and there's a dumpster. We have like a middle door now. So you got a front, back door, middle door. There's a big dumpster in the driveway that's blocking the entrance, right? In front of the big dumpster, there's also a whole bunch of signing that they haven't put on the house yet that's blocking the direct door that you have to walk out of. So I said, hey, how are we supposed to take this up to put this in the garage when the dumpster's in the driveway and the door is blocked by awning, and you would have to step up something that's like this tall in order to throw it out? She says, oh, you could just put it right there and then you could walk it across the grass, over the water hose, by the crane that it has a couple of nails coming out and some siding, but you'll be good because you could just walk across the mud. And I said, you're asking too much of me.
Yeah.
And I just said, I was like, I just want to let you know you're asking too much of me. So then she takes it from, we're going to move a whole bunch of things to 6 items. And I was like, hey, changing the number doesn't change the ask. You're still asking too much of me. And then I open the containers and I see it's my dad's records and DVDs. My mom never had any records and DVDs. So I call him. I said, hey, bud. He said, hey, what's going on, man? I call my dad, bud. I said, did you know that we're moving your stuff into the garage in order for you guys to go through it this week to throw some things out? He said, I didn't agree to that. I said, I know you didn't agree to that. That's why I'm on the phone. He was like, do you know she moved my stuff from the library case into the garage? And these are books that I didn't read. He's big on reading. And she didn't let me know. And I was like, seamless.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang the phone up now. Went upstairs. I was like, hey, I have a new project. This is a project. Not doing that. We're not doing this. And she was like, but it's my birthday. I said, I'm here for the birthday wish, the dinner, and the celebration. This isn't a celebration. You wild.
Yeah.
So then she complained to him like 5 times throughout the whole time that I was there. And he was like, well, I told him it was okay. I told him my dad wanted to move it. You didn't talk to me about it. And it's like, that's what happens when you become a bully in your relationship and you're shooting people into your situations. That's a trick of
Master manipulation.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, you're good, Mom. I love you though. I'm a leave in 2 days if I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry that happened to you.
That was expected.
I'm gonna ask.
You said what?
I said it's good that you set it down.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like, I don't have a temper, but I have access to a temper, and I'd rather not tap into that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'd say that's one thing I've noticed about Juice is that he's really good at setting boundaries.
A lot of practice. A lot of practice. When you start at home and you figure out your sources, you're like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Because it's like, love has this murky way when people step over the boundaries of what love is supposed to be, that it's something that's turned against you. I find folks do it a lot with religion. I find folks do it a lot with people that may not be financially sound, and unfortunately sometimes it's the ones that are closest to you, and in their, I don't want to say plight, their frustration of things not being done the way that they saw future wise, or things that they want for themselves, those projections tend to turn into either manipulating people or putting people in awkward positions that, like, if this was a conversation and an understanding of, oh, this needs to get done because this, then the third, people would be more willing, or people aren't willing to face the fact that people have the ability to tell you no and actually be corrected when they decide this isn't a good look or this isn't a good move right now.
Yeah. I think you hit it right on the nail, especially when you said the way love, we sometimes be using that. So I definitely feel like with parent relationships, romantic relationships, and sometimes some people who are manipulated, they'll use love as a reason why you shouldn't say no. Because, like, I know growing up, my mother would always be like, I gave birth to you. But what can I say today? You did give me life, but it's also like,
I didn't ask to be here.
I'm next to be here, and you're moving kind of crazy right now. So yes, you gave birth to me, baby, but you acting a little insane. So I think I should be able to say no. So growing up, I never really felt like I could say no, and that moved into romantic relationships, and you can see how dangerous that can be, where you literally don't feel like you can say no. The people pleasing tendencies come, and you literally lose your voice in the thing, because then it's always like, well, dang, they did this for me, so yeah, even though they did treat me like I didn't matter and I was less than a piece of paper, I mean, hey, they did this. So it's really important just to, like, know that you can love somebody and still say no. It's like, put yourself first. I'm gonna do it.
I had trouble.
I think it's not their pain too. That's also another part that's really important.
I had trouble with the discomfort that comes with the reaction to you saying no. And it was like, oh wow, and you're really upset that I'm doing something for myself. I don't want to lose you, but then I might, and then I don't like the feeling of being alone. Like, okay, now I've lost a person. How am I ever going to replace that person? But, you come around to the idea, like, you just got to put yourself out there and just, like, find the right people that will respect your boundaries, because that's real love. It's like you're there no matter if you're up, down, saying yes, saying no, happy, sad, rich, poor. Like, those are the people that actually love you.
I've actually been the type to fall in love with being alone, too. I had to learn that first before anything else. Like, when my parents, like, punished me for anything or things were taken away, I think there was a certain point, and that was not punishment a lot, but it's like there was always a lot of anxiety built around success when it came to my parents. So, like, you have to be an A student. Like, I got smacked in the face at what's it called back in the day when it was like parent-teacher meeting, and the hardest teacher I ever had, Mr. Nugent. Sophomore year, I had like a C+ in his class, and my mom smacked the shit out of me. And Mr. Nugent was like, don't do that to Dwight, because that was my name at the time. Actually, not everyone called me Juice back then, but like he specifically, like, called me by my government, which was great. He was like, he's in a really hard class. Not a lot of students pass my class. But then in my head, I was like, wait, so failure is a C+, and I get smacked in the face for trying my best, even as I'm figuring it out. And then I was like, okay, her style of teaching is never going to work for me, because that means that there always needs to be pain in the room in order for me to do my best. That's not a choice that I'm willing to live with. Because then what if I turn into a person that I need there to be big losses for me to perform really well? And I was like, nah, that's not the kind of future I want for myself, because I might end up shipping off and selling things that I care about in order for me to perform really well. And I was like, that's not gonna do. Yeah. So that's how I fell in love with, like, being alone and having alone time and being comfortable with, like, hey, if you make choices to defend yourself or to make decisions that are important for you and what you would like and what those boundaries look like, you may have to get comfortable with being alone more often, whether you want to or not. And that was really hard.
That's tough at what, 16?
Yeah. I was getting into my built phase, but, like, after a while, it's just like, I knew from a long time I was probably going to be like a child who loved my parents, would be close to them, but from a distance, because habitually they'll take too much of our loving. Yeah.
And that's rare. And it's different to know the people you love. Like, know your parents as people and as parents, because when you're growing up, at least for me, man's a superhero. She just like, you literally gave me life. Hey mom, hey dad. And then as you grow up, you begin to see, but you kind of move a little. At least for me, it was like, you move a little Jake, you move a little weird. If you weren't my parent, I probably would have taught you for.
Yeah.
But there's a theme with what y'all both say, where it's like, I read this quote, pay attention to how they react when you say no. And sometimes that's why I like saying no. Because now I'll be cool, because we've been in agreement. But now, how are you going to react when we're in disagreement? Or when I set a boundary for myself? You're going to flip on me, you're going to cuss me out. And that shows me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I need to be around people who respect my yeses and my nos.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be no yes man. I'm not, that ain't good for me or you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something though, Not. You were like, there was a time where somebody told you to take deep breaths. You'd be like, bitch. How could you have been reached? Like, what would have been one thing that a person could have said to make you mindful or to like start your journey for you? Because I find that in my job, as a pediatrician, I run into those people there. I'm like, no, I don't care what you're talking about. Like, you're crazy. I don't have time for that. That's not gonna work. And I don't know what to say to necessarily reach them in that moment.
I would say the best thing is to just meet them where they at. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly speaking, no amount of I was just so caught up in my hurt and going through it that really what I needed was somebody to understand me more than to provide a solution. Because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is a loss of hope, right? Where it's like, yeah, I know breathing's only gonna take 2-3 minutes, but I'm just feel so broken and so lost. Like, I don't feel heard, I don't feel seen. So at this point, I'm not trying to hear what nobody got to tell me. But I did have this one teacher, I'll always remember her, and I still talk to her, high school teacher from sophomore year to junior year, and she literally just gave me a hug. She would give me a hug, she would pray for me, and she would tell me to keep going. And that is what I needed at that time, just some acknowledgement of pain. And then as that relationship builds, you just got to start with acknowledging the pain, because sometimes that's all somebody wants. They never had nobody literally show compassion. Compassion is such a small, free thing. I run into a lot of classrooms, don't have nobody telling them it's gonna be okay. Hugging them and saying it's gonna be okay. Sometimes that's what you need. And then from there, that's when you can start to offer I know this is what you're going through, but I do have this resource for you that I feel like would be beneficial. But first, you got to meet them where they at. Yes. It's my day, and then we know.
Well, that's what I do. I actually had a family the other night, and it's crazy. There was, first of all, our office just extended hours, so now we're open until 8 p.m.
Wild.
And so, of course, the other people, besides the doctors and the nurses, are not there at 8 p.m., the support staff. And so these two teenagers, one is 13, one is 17, they come in with their mom, and the 13-year-old, before anybody can do anything, it's not like we're running behind or anything, the 13-year-old is going off, I'm leaving, F you, to the mom. And we figure out that it's because her mom said that she couldn't get her hair done that day, and she was, I had to wait till Sunday or something. And so the mom pulls me into an empty room before I go in with the teenagers, because with teenagers, you have to separate them, and they have confidentiality for some parts of the visit. And so the mom is telling me, she always has these outbursts, I'm afraid that one of us is going to hurt the other one. She's terrorizing her younger sister, it's so violent. We always go to the hospital, and then she plays nice, and then they discharge her, and then we're back home, and it's 10 times worse. And mom expressed some passive or SI. Some passive SI to me, and I was like, this is a lot, because we don't have the social worker, we don't have the psychologist. We don't have,
It's a lot.
And so, I was like, well, I think our psychologist would be able to help you. Can she call you? She's like, no, we don't. We already talked to the psychologist. That ain't gonna work. She already been to PIW, blah, blah, blah. And so I was just like, do you need a hug? She's the kiss. I'll take Sonny. Yeah, I hugged her. She started crying. And then I said, okay, I think our psychologist is going to have some resources for you. This is going to be happening in the background, because it's after hours right now. And, we don't have the people here today, but just know, I'm going to be working on this for you. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. So we'll see how it goes. That was just 2 days ago. So we'll see like if the psychologist actually can provide the resource. Because I think this girl probably needs long-term psychiatric care, like inpatient, because she's a danger to her family and herself.
Yeah.
So Psychiatric Institute of Washington.
I've heard some horror stories about.
Yeah. So fun fact, I actually was in a psych ward before.
Okay.
It was like
I might say which one you were.
Yeah, I was in Georgetown Medical Center, like something like that. So I've been suicide since I was 7. I got deported at 6. And then, like, my world was rocked. Like, I went from being, like, a happy, go-getter child, being surrounded by family, having holidays, just to being in a very violent home where it's like my parents, because I didn't grow up with my parents. Okay, so basically what happened was I came to America from London. I was born in America, but I moved to London to live with my grandmother. When I came to meet my parents, because at the time when I moved with my grandmother, I was 2, so I didn't remember my parents. So it was meeting them, and then on my way back to London, I said something about, I'm excited to start swim class or something like that. And the airport lady, I don't like her. The airport lady, I guess she overheard me or something, and that's when she started really checking my paperwork or something. And I think that's when she realized, oh wait, she has a visa. That's not like, how is she going to school here? She's an American citizen. I don't know the whole thing, because I didn't know I was there illegally. Nobody told me like, ever sat me down and had a procedure like, hey, this is certain things you don't say when you're in the airport and stuff like that.
Wait, what's wrong with saying you're going to swim class?
I don't know. She always sounds to me. I don't know why. I think she just profiled me and literally she just started what she wanted.
Oh, how is this black girl going to swim class?
Yeah, it's all like that. I think like something I was excited to start school or something, but long story short, she sat me. I remember being in an office by myself. I don't even think I had like any adult with me. Like, so it all kind of has been coming back as I'm in my 20s and stuff like that. And then it was like, I remember being in this dark room and just answering questions. And then before I knew it, they told me I had 2 weeks to pack my bag and go. So I left all my family. And then after leaving all my family, they need patient. Like, we're mom's side, dad's side, grandma, like it's a lot of harmony. So I basically, when I left London, that was basically me getting cut off from that side of the family. I never talked to my grandmother again until I was 18. Never really talked to my cousins and none. I used to have a language. I knew the language tree. I lost my language where I would only speak English at that point. Because when I moved to America, I started getting told that I wasn't speaking tree correctly. So it just made me silent. So I was like, okay, I'm done speaking my native tongue. So I just started speaking English. And then I was put into just a lot of violence. So, and I was just being told a lot of stuff like you're worthless, you're making my life harder. I wasn't really like, and then I ended up going back a grade because they said like, I don't know, I had a late birthday. I'm really confused. I'm like, what you mean I have a late birthday in January? So it was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, and then it just was a lot with my parents where I wasn't really wanted for real. Like I was a kid, so it's like, okay, I'm here, but I was basically told how I was making life harder and things like that. So I didn't really feel like I had a home, I had a place. Mm-hmm. So that brought on a lot of suicidal just thoughts at a young age. Mm-hmm. So nonetheless, when I was 18, I moved out of my parents' crib and I started going to college, went to American, and that's when, I was no longer in survival mode, but I still had those habits. So I just had a breakdown. Everything was coming, because during those years, I was just trying to make it every day. Every day was hard for me. Like I didn't really like coming home. I really loved school, but school's only from 7 to 3, Monday through Friday. Then you had summers. I used to hate summers. I used to get anxiety every time I come home. It was crazy. And then also, I'm this girl with a British accent that's black. She got off here. I'm like, where? Like, I just didn't know. I didn't have no friends. Took a minute. So, yeah. So, I went through the psychiatric healthcare system, mental health care system. And I would say, I definitely empathize with her because the truth is, when you're dealing with something like mental health and trauma, it can be frustrating going through the system. Because for one, when I was going there in the emergency room, I was there for hours. And then, I was 18, so now I'm with adults. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And psych wards are very bland and exactly how it is in the movies, which I think now, especially I'm in this mode of healing and wellness, and I've learned more about the process. I don't really understand why they make it so
cold?
Cold. I don't think it's beneficial. It's cold. The food isn't good. The employees there were good for me though. Like, it definitely was a helpful experience for me. I'm grateful that I went there. But I can also see how for some people it's just like, it can somewhat be another traumatic experience because it's a lot. And then you're always recounting your trauma. And then you also have the judgment that comes from trauma because we're human, right? But for example, I had this uncle who unfortunately did some things to me when I was little that was a trauma I wasn't really ready to like recount or whatever. And then I had this doctor basically trying to force me to fill out a police report. Like, hold on. Like, I ain't ready yet. You keep talking about this time, like 10 years ago, we did this to a lot of wounds. Luckily, I had a nurse who was an advocate for me and also a survivor. So she understood and she was like, yeah, don't listen to him. You do stuff when you're ready. Mm-hmm. But it was come on. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah,
I could tell.
I think one of the reasons why it might be cold is because there are two concepts, transference and countertransference, and where like the transference is where the patient starts to attach to the therapist in a way that's not maintaining the integrity of the therapeutic relationship. So it's like, oh, you remind me of my dad, and so I'm going to expect things that I would expect from my dad. But it's like, no, wait, I'm a therapist, so I can't play that role for you. And then countertransference is when the therapist starts to emotionally attach to the patient in a way that is not maintaining the integrity of the relationship. So I think maybe that's why people try to be as detached as possible, and that's why it comes across as cold. But I have heard, her name is Pride of Nyla on Instagram. She's talked about having more culturally competent therapeutic relationships because it's not like that's not effective. Like you're saying, like you need somebody that can empathize with the fact that yes, you grew up in a Black household and this is how Black households are run, and these are some of the traumas that come with that. So yeah. I mean, I think there definitely needs to be a shift in the way that mental support is offered. Now,
I have 5 things to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yo, we're good. I'm sorry you went through that. Yeah, hearing that story, my heart goes out to you because it's like, I can't imagine you had to defend and fend for yourself at every turn after simply wanting to go swimming. That you can never get that time back. And then I think a really important part of your story was like, that I thought to myself is, who were you when you finally got back to your family, got in contact with everybody around AIDS? Yeah. And like, you know, who you had the chance to become, you can never get that back anymore because of everything that you went through.
Yeah.
I just, man, so many people need their asses beaten.
Well, for real. And I'm so proud now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. My family is a lot of things, but not that. I think you deserve so much better, and you've come so far. I really hope that like the people around you in your life today are able to give you credit and give you the support and warmth that you deserve as a person. Because like that's, and a lot of people don't make that. Yeah. They don't make it past everything you just said, like half of that. And so
that's why I'm always shouting out mending wounds.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, she made it go.
She knows some mending though. It's so But in that whole process, what did getting back to who you are look like for you?
Mourning what was lost, and to say, grieving. Grief was a big part of that. Grieving what I wish I had in my parents, and grieving, you know, the love that I wish I had, the childhood that I wish I had, because I missed out on a lot of childhood things. Like my earliest childhood memory of me getting SA. Like I don't have like, I mean I have good story, cool story, you feel me? But I don't really have like good memories. That's why like it kind of sucks sometimes when people like be talking about their childhood and talking about all these fun things. But like don't ask me, you know what I'm saying? Don't press it like to me, because baby I ain't got nothing to say for real. Like so, and also reconnecting with my grandma was so healing to me. Like we had this long 40-minute talk, and she basically telling me about my personality, because I basically went mute because I lost my voice. I was native tongue ready, and I just stopped talking, you know, and like stopped eating a lot. I just stopped. And so it was nice, like reconnecting with her and her like kind of helping me refresh my memory on some things. And like I did feel some memories coming back, so that was nice. Like about how I used to be more talkative, and I was a very like happy child. So that was very healing. Like I cried, and it was just beautiful, you know. Yeah. But that being said, I did experience a lot of trauma in London as well. Like I was beat really badly, and like I did experience some SA too. But the big difference with that, and that's why community makes a difference. Because even though I'm going through that as a young child, I still had love and I still had hope. That was like, I still had family. So that was traumatic for me, but it never really compared to the stuff I went through in America. Because in America, I didn't have those things. So being able to experience both worlds helps me understand feeling and the complexities of it, and also understand the importance of people having a social, like a healthy social network. That can make a difference between somebody who's living and somebody who's not. And you feel me? Because, you know, we're in an era where, you know, like do things for yourself, you know, individuality. And I'm a firm advocate for that. However, don't ever underestimate the importance of having a chosen family, having on the chosen, because, you know, I'm not trying to knock my peoples or anything, like, but at the end of the day, if I was to make a family based on what they showed me, baby, it would be toxicer than toxic. I didn't, you know, export with a new word, you know what I'm saying? So like, that mourning that, grieving that, and acknowledging that pain helped me. And also just, you know, I'm naturally an optimist, so I don't really look at the trauma that I've been through as necessarily something that has hindered me anymore, only because of the awareness that I've gotten from it, where I'm able to connect with people who have been through very traumatic experiences on a personable level. Because I'm basically like, before the age of 18, I experienced physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it makes it easier for me to navigate certain spaces. Like I used to work as a mentor for young girls on probation. A lot of those girls went through similar experiences that I had went through. And, you know, just the paths were different. However, my experiences enabled me to form a connection with these girls and also show them some type of like, you can go through this and you can still like come out strong. Like you don't have to, well, not that you don't have to, but there's options for you. But it really starts with the mind. So it helped me build a lot of strong mental resilience, a lot of, you know, perseverance, empathy. I can relate to a lot of different people. So I guess part of the healing was like, I don't know, I kind of like think of myself as a lotus, like really, you know, brought the money, real beautiful. So I'm mourning about it. I couldn't sit in that mourning for too long, because then, I mean, I can't get that time back. I can't get my shine back. But also like, that I already had a child that coming out, so it's like, I don't know. I just feel like that's just was meant to make my life, and I'm grateful that I listened from it.
Have you guys seen the butterfly effect? The butterfly.
I remember parts of the movie. I don't remember.
I understand.
Basically, the essence is like one thing happens, and then there are like 10 other things that are happening as a result of that. And I feel like, you know, that's part of even me. I had a grieving process of like the things that I didn't get as a child, but it prepared me to do the work that I'm doing today, right? And so while I sacrificed or suffered 10, 15, 100 people will not suffer in that same way. So like, it was just kind of like meant to be. Yeah.
No.
That's real. Is there something very important, which is also another part of your story that I don't want to gloss over? Is it important that when an SA survivor meets another SA survivor and that they're advocated for? Like, for example, that doctor saying, oh, we need to file a report and everything else. And it's like, well, what if I would have filed that report and had to go through this as someone who wasn't ready to go through that? What would have happened to me in your morality of we have to do it because it's the right thing? And it's like, well, what about the victim in all this?
Nah, for sure. There definitely has to be some advocacy, and also just listening to people. It's just that simple. Like, I understand. You could just tell, like, it's one of them experiences that you don't know till you know kind of vibe. So I'm not going to say I didn't understand where he's coming from, because he's thinking, oh, but what if this person is doing this to other children? But also that triggering me, because I'm thinking, oh, okay, Mr. Saving. Well, where was you at when I needed saving? You feel me? Now you trying to make me feel guilty like I'm supposed to be your savior. Like, I'm still healing. I can't, what? You asking a lot out of me. You feel me?
And feel like survivor's guilt, would you say that's also a thing that comes with it?
Survivor's guilt is definitely a big thing. But also, like, my survivor's guilt kind of manifested itself in just a different way with, like, a lot of what I'm going through is I'm not the first in my family to go through it. Maybe first in my family to talk about it because I have the courage to, but even when I was talking in therapy, it's like there's a lot of signs that shows that this just might be a familiar thing, like, and nobody has broken the cycle yet or had the courage to speak on it yet. So there's survivor's guilt in that aspect, but there's also just like, I don't know, I don't really feel survivor's guilt because I feel like everybody goes through their own thing, and there's so much in my control, but part of my healing was recognizing what's not in my control. You get me? And it's like what I can do and what I can't do. And that's why it's important to have that advocate, because when you're in a phase where you're kind of still figuring out those lines, you don't need somebody to force you to do something. Like, it's like, I got what you were coming from, but you haven't experienced what I've experienced, so I'm gonna need you to take it like back 10 notches.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to understand in this life, especially about SA, when a lot of SA happens within the family, it's not as simple as, oh, file a court document. One of my abusers was an illegal immigrant that was the main provider for his family. If I go against him, I'm basically, hello, who wants to say
everybody else
shutting everybody else into the street. So yeah, for you it may be that black and white, but I'm sorry, my life ain't black and white. You can't just put it into this is right and this is wrong, and you're gonna have to deal with that. That's something. If you want that to be on your conscience, congratulations, but I'm fighting demons right now, so all this that you doing, I ain't trying to hear that. So that's literally what I felt. And then
when you said no, did the psychiatrist or the doctor ask you why, or like what your hesitation was?
Yeah, and they just basically were just trying to go back and forth, but I wasn't trying to hear none of that.
So there was no compassion. It wasn't like, oh, let me understand, like giving you an opportunity to explain. Like, if I go against him, then like all my other cousins and like everybody else.
Yeah, there was no compassion. There was also like, I had another doctor where people don't understand the impact SA, especially as a child, has on a young woman and the way she looks at men in general and people in general. Because also as a child, you have trusted people. You may be more trusting. Even if you've been through a lot of stuff, you may subconsciously be looking for something in men and you don't even realize it, right? Especially as somebody who had just left an environment where I was going through and exposed to a lot. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I had a doctor tell me, because there was this homelessness, that's nothing. Like with psych wards, they place everybody kind of together. So you have the people who have depression, but then you also may have somebody who's in a manic episode of bipolar. Yeah. So shorty over here throwing her trees in here. I mean, not her trees, her apples and her plates, angry. You got this quiet person right here that might be actively getting triggered because maybe they've fallen into a depression because of violence. It's not enough mixing. And then you have to, then it's also like the environment. Yeah. It's not all the people are cold, but there is some coldness, but there also is the environment looks very cold. Like, it looks very bland.
Even down to the lighting and the colors.
Even down to the lighting and the colors. So, this a lot, I need to change that. But, so it just was like, it was just a lot. It was just a lot. I don't know if it's such a question.
I mean, you gave an answer. And that's what's important.
You said there was another doctor. You were
there was another doctor where, basically there was this homeless man there, and he was being weird. He was making comments on my boobs, like, and stuff like that. But then he had a switch where he was nice, right? So then I'm like, okay, maybe he was just having a moment, like just empathize, like the empathy levels and the trust levels and the naive levels, like you just don't think the same. Like, it's kind of weird. So the doctor was like, basically place a little bit of blame on me, basically like, may need to watch the way you move and stuff like that. Oh, you need to put that voice somewhere, like when you're not around people, because why you acting like that? Hello?
You know.
So that was a little triggering to me, but also there was some power in that, because when it was like that, I kind of came at him a little bit, so that made me feel good. Because I said, and then he was like, oh yeah, I'm not trying to sound like that, and I was like, yeah, you better not be. Yeah, what are you trying to say? And that made me feel good.
I think the fact that there's a lack of empathy, and I think you've heard me bring this up before, where in the medical field or just people trying to help folks, sometimes it becomes this fight for what's right and wrong versus, all right, where's the empathy for the person that's actually going through whatever's going on? And people lose themselves to like I think it's pride. I think that's pride and ego. And it's like, well, you need to do the right thing. It's like, so does that erase all the that I went through that we're trying to talk about? Because, like, you're really losing the plot right now.
And all this I'm going to go through after I leave here and finish
that doesn't stop. Like, that doesn't stop just because you did the right thing.
Yeah. Because, like, in the situation I brought where it's literally like...
With the close quotations.
Yeah.
Right thing.
Having one back. Because it's like, yes, in an ideal world, me snitching, telling the police about them, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's not snitching.
Yeah.
No. That's not snitching. Not that situation. That's not snitching.
Okay, period.
Snitching is when you work with someone on a crime.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
Okay,
period. Okay. Learn new theory that. Yeah, so me telling on them, that's like the right thing to do, right? But then you also have the other side where it's like, okay, family might be on the streets. He provides for not only his current family, but his family abroad. They rely on him. So it's like, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like...
And his family is your family. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Is there ever a full circle moment where you got to tell that his face, I'm going to kill you for some shit that you did to me?
I didn't tell him I'm going to kill him, but I'm more so like, I'm hip to what you do.
Okay.
Like, because there was a lot of grooming that made it difficult for me.
So there was grooming also.
Yeah, it made it difficult for me to identify. And mind you, I've had, like, unfortunately, a lot of different encounters with men just being weird. Like, so this is just one person. Yeah. But this one was probably the most impactful because of how close we were. Because as a child, I'm not thinking or looking at me in that way. And I even had, like, I'm still thinking that. Because I ain't interested in you. Like, you owe. Like, what are we talking about? Mm-hmm. So, there was some grooming involved and just me not being able to identify exactly what it was because it wasn't as explicit. Like, I never got raped, but I got touched. So, like, I remember just, like, the mental, like, anguish being so strong that sometimes I wish that it was more forceful because at least I can identify what's going on. Like, I'm literally confused and I'm not being heard. Nobody's really taking me seriously, and it's not like I'm not reaching out for help. Throughout my whole journey, I reached out for help, like, especially within the school system. But when it comes to things like SA, like, especially if it's just touching, like, you can't really prove much. So I ain't got no Kendall rig mark on me. It's my word against a provider's word, like, and especially if I have somebody close to me to be like, oh, that's just how things are. Yeah. So that I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'm tripping. Yeah. And it took me, like, having the bravery and the courage to actually say it out loud for somebody to affirm, be like, nah, you right. That's not right. Yeah.
Or the people in the school, and this is just out of curiosity, because I didn't know that there were people in the school that you could confide in that would help, or like that would people bring things to light that were inappropriate at home, or the people at the school.
I mean, honestly, I don't think they have like a step person, but I had the teacher I was really close with, and then I also had like school counselors because I dealt a lot with like depression and suicide ideation. Like, I remember, like, in middle school, just the first time when I reached out for a little bit of help in elementary school, but I think it was just a lot going on because I had a British accent, French with my parents. She probably like, I don't know what's going on with this girl. Also, I was very smart. And like getting straight A's. So I think sometimes when you're getting straight A's, like, people just assume your family probably like, yeah, they got help right. And I know, I think my grandmother raised me. It wasn't my parents. And school was my refuge, but I digress. Yeah. So I had my teacher and I had a school counselor who would just basically help me. I remember in middle school, she came to our class for a presentation on mental health. And then something was just telling me, like, Brett, tell her what she wanted to, tell her what she wanted. And I told her. Mm-hmm. And even with that, there was, like, I didn't have the language to describe because, like, the essay I'm talking about with the person who groomed me, I didn't admit till I was 19. I admitted to some friends, but also the grooming happened in a foreign, like, my native language tweet. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I was being gaslit, oh, well, you're not fluent in this, so he probably was saying something else. But I'm like, bro, I know what she'll say. Like, please stop playing with me. So, yeah. Yeah.
You want to take a break here?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You want water?
Oh, let me get some water.
All right, because I was like, yeah, if you need it, let us know, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because imagine us being like, so you like Danish shit? So tell us about your family. It's not.
I actually, okay, this is funny. I saw online the other day, there's this new mashup between a donut and a cookie, and they call it a dookie.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
That's
Cheese crazy. I would think I would want to eat that. That's cute though.
That's a peel. That's a peel.
Let me get some words. Chocolate.
Hey, I'll tip you for this dookie, man. Yeah, put that in my bag. Yeah, just like that, man. Yeah. The edge is really soft. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. No,
Like the drawing board on that one. Yeah.
No, that's not one of the drawing board. Please, marketing team is after that. Sometimes y'all ever look at like some like companies or marketing and you're like, who
Who said that was a good one?
like, especially when it's like racist. I'm like, what? So y'all they had no. That's the problem. They got a lot. Because they come to the same like minded. And no H&M with the monkey.
Oh yeah.
Like who told y'all? Nobody said anything.
No, someone said something and they want to ignore it.
Had to.
Yeah, the leader said, "No, I'm the leader." Okay, all right.
All right, I'm gonna
enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how far.
But they did. Gucci turn around and do the same thing. Like a year later, they got the same people.
Yeah, because they like towing the line. Yeah, they like seeing how far that no goes. Yeah. But tell me about mending a wound. How does one mend a wound? Like, what does it mean to mend said wound? I'm going to say mend a lot from this point forward.
They're not the same code.
Definitely to one, acknowledge his presence, and to two, like, think about it almost like if you got a scar or something, you gonna put some alcohol on it to put some neosporin, and you gotta put a band-aid. And you know, sometimes some scars take longer to heal. You know, they need that continuous mending. But it's just really growing and taking care of yourself, taking care of those wounds, those generational traumas, those hidden skeletons in your closet, just taking care of them and knowing that, you know what, it's a process, right? It's okay to be in a state of mending, you know, like some things don't just like go away. Like the trauma I went through, because it was so like basically my entire childhood, it's not going to be an overnight process, but now I'm gonna keep on working. And look, I got to work.
Are you specialized or certified in any different modalities like Reiki or like sound baths or like any of those?
No, I haven't really got into that. I definitely like appreciate those modes of healing. I just don't think it's my calling. I might do like a sound healing certification, but yeah, I like speaking more like mindfulness. And they do have like certifications for mindfulness. It's just I don't know. Sometimes I get wary with like certain certifications with certain like schools that are like not really culturally competent. So I do a lot of like reading and you know, public health. A big part of it is self promotion. So I did do schooling for that, and I do plan to get my master's in public health, more so behavior change, to understand more about the science behind behavior change. But as a field, you know, we're really just starting to acknowledge certain social issues and how it impacts health, like gun like gun violence and environment and trauma. Those are just now emerging topics like that people are still trying to really incorporate when looking at a person's, you know, entire health and well-being. So it's kind of beautiful for me because I like to be able to, you know, learn more and know more, and I am a creative, so giving that creative space to kind of create and see what's going on, that plus my personal experience. However, it does suck. It's like I wish y'all it's a little bit earlier to party. You know? Yeah.
And was that disappointing when you discovered that that study of public health lacked so much, not even nuance, but acknowledgement of what's actually happening in the health of public?
So an disappointing, yes, but also was it really shocking? No, because at the end of the day, and maybe because I went to a PWI, I mean, a lot of what I read was not made or by not people, or even if it was, it's like giving white saviorism kind of vibe, like let's go help this underserved community because they have food desks and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you, but it's still coming from an area. Let me tell you, you can read about it, but it's one thing about when you live it. And you cannot ever underestimate the experience of life and the school of life. And so that in itself had its limitations. And I loved my department. I learned a lot. And there definitely was an emphasis on my cultural competence and health equity and, you know, like I said, health promotion, empowering patients and empowering providers. However, there definitely needs to be more work done, especially when it comes to the impact on trauma on people, because a lot of what's passed along, like people's health habits, has to do with the family they come from. You only know what you know, right? So how are you supposed to know, oh, like, maybe this certain lifestyle isn't really doing it for me when you're not taught that? You know, that's what you're told, like, this is your mental level. You're not taught to prioritize your health and wellness. So there's a lot of, I just feel like it just needs to go back to the roots. Like, go back to the roots and you go see a lot.
Right? Maybe with expectations, like if I'm talking to you about your kid's weight and your response is, well, everybody in the family is big. It's like, well, everybody doesn't have to be big. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, maybe
being big is also a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for certain people.
Yeah.
Not for everybody. For certain people, being big is a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that pause. That was the professional about it. Well, let me tell you about just that. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead, Dr. Jones.
No, and that's so real. That's so real. And sometimes those are at least conversations that I feel like people are afraid to have, you know, because I know with the school I went to, there's a lot of talk about the system and how bad the system is. And don't get me wrong, the system is messed up, right? But who makes systems?
The system has permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes individuals to make a community, to make a system. But the thing about it, you got to look at the nuance and recognize, well, who's been empowered to really create these systems, right? And that's where that culture competency comes in and that empathy comes in for that patience. But a lot of people aren't willing to do the full circle research to discover that because one, that's not in your curriculum. And two, it's not in your curriculum. A lot of people don't like to read outside. So you got to read everything.
Yeah.
I got a lot of books I hate reading, but I make sure to practice reading. You had to learn to love reading because, like, my parents forced me to read. Like, hey, you gotta read.
Yeah, that makes you know.
What's cool? Gotta read. And then when I got out of college, I was like, oh, you better be careful. You need to keep reading because you'll start not to catch on the pronunciations of certain words. You'll start making things up that are real words that don't need to be made. Like, sir, keep practicing.
That's why I'm really heavy on, like, you know, educating myself outside of school. Even like I remember one of my college essays was about just higher level institutions are important, but sometimes they take away from the passion of learning. And for me, I've always been a nerd. I loved reading, I loved math, I loved science, I loved health. I was in the Academy of Professions in high school. I got my CNA, I love health, I love helping people. So for me, post-college, and still kind of creating a practice in a field that's still in the midst of being solidified and made, it's important for me to have a passion for learning what I'm learning outside of the institution. And also, especially with working with Black people, so much of our history and so much of our health facts and stuff, it's not really included in research, or there's not enough research out there. And it's not even that the research isn't out there. Sometimes it's just not getting the publication or the attention that other resources are. So making sure that I'm a person that's able to do research on my own and be credible on my own is very important to me. And I'll also continue my education.
I think what's really important about loving health is also acknowledging there's not money in the system because in private equity, underfundedness, it comes to government and everything else. So it's like, you love this thing, you want to do these large things, which you know person because you be there every day. And they realize, why is the money being siphoned off? Why does the budget keep getting smaller?
Yeah.
Why are there certain people that are making money and others in the same field aren't? But we're technically doing jobs that are standalone or separate by each other for like 2 different skills that they could learn in 6 months if we really wanted them to.
Not the real
business itself, man, is
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's part of like, that's why a big part of my model is just giving people the tools to learn and heal themselves, like to mend their wounds. I'm very big on, I'm not your healer, I'm not your therapist, I'm not none of that. What I'm giving you is knowledge, right? What I'm giving you is wisdom to be able to take yourself through those dark moments. And of course, reach out for more professional help in terms of like reach out to your doctor, psychiatrist, your therapist when needed. But like I said, everybody's gonna have their moment where they gotta leave the office and you gotta deal with yourself on your own and unlearn those habits. How do you unlearn a habit? You keep practicing a new one every day. You keep going every day. You know what I'm saying? And that takes yourself, takes your mind, your will, your drive. You can never underestimate that.
Yeah.
And I was saying something earlier where the worst thing you can do to a people is to make them feel like their future is just so hopeless because of this system. Because when you do that, you take away hope in themselves.
And the incentive to
do
anything different.
It's like, why would I? The system already fucked up. Let me go ahead and just chill. You hear me? But it's like, no, you can, there is some control you have. And you know what I'm saying? But, and yeah,
That's why I started raising risers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's why I started raising risers to like teach kids like, yes, anything is possible. Don't let whatever your environment is deter you from reaching for what's on the other side, right? Like, if you believe you can be a doctor, I'm a doctor, so yeah, that period, you can do it, you know, but you are smarter than what these people in these schools are making you believe. But
heavy on that. I would for my kids on that when I see their grades. Like, I see I said, you know what, that's cool, but I believe you can do higher. And it's kind of scary sometimes where they're like, no, I can't. And I'm like, who told you?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you can't. You can do it
to hear it a different way.
Yeah, for real. And a lot of Black kids need nurturing. And I don't think it's intentional where sometimes Black women do this, because a lot of us are living in survival mode ourselves. But sometimes I just notice, like, you know, a lot of the kids I work with, they don't really have that nurturing or that caring. They're also kind of in survival as well. And it's the natural aggression where, even I spoke about it last night, where sometimes felt like I had to be tough. I had to move a certain way just because, shoot, that's how y'all perceive me anyway. Yeah, it's like the only time I get hurt. And so it's important to teach, you know, obviously in certain environments, you have to learn you gotta be street smart. You gotta know how to move. You can't be all happy, la all the time. You gotta know this time and place. But it's also like, nurture your kids at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they deserve that. Compassion and empathy goes a very long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, go ahead.
My mom's in a perpetual survival mode. Like that story I told you guys about, like, hey, come do, that's survival mode. That's like, I see it. I know what it is. I come in and I'm like, fresh brew survivor. I see you. So it's like, you know, as much as like there are things that piss me off and make me upset, I have to be smart enough and aware enough to know that I'm not the source of what's going on and what she's going through. Because I'm not the source, it's not that it doesn't have anything to do with me, but I can't inherit someone else's rules, which I have to be really careful of.
Nice.
Yeah. Part of being a child, though, is inheriting wounds, unfortunately.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
See that? Hey, I don't got enough Hello Kitty Band-Aids. Stay away from me.
No, how to go and kidding bandit.
Definitely. I'm definitely an empath. So, like, inheriting wounds was also a big part of my healing journey, and, like, letting it go. Letting it go. Especially because I was exposed to a lot of DV relationships. And, you know something about domestic violence relationships. It is up to the survivor. I'm telling you, like, the whole family could be like, leave them, they're not good for you, this, that, and the third, but it's up to the survivor at the end of the day. But to an extent, right? Because sometimes you also got life or death situations. Where it's like, it's just tricky for everybody involved. And I inherited so much of that pain and that, like, secondary PTSD, that's what we call it. Yeah, so much of that, you know, I almost felt survivor's guilt. I felt guilty for living. Like, I would go into these nice restaurants and be so grateful for the opportunity, but also while being there, I'm like, dang, they still, like, call through what they go through, like, dang. So I really had to learn to, and I've had a kitty bad days.
Yeah, and it's hard because that really changes, like, the taste of food, the taste of water, the taste of juice.
No.
Those happy memories, they seem a lot less. The light seems dimmer when you, like, look back at things. And really working through that isn't easy for a lot of folks. And it's like, you know, even sometimes outside of domestic violence, you could survive a relationship and look back and be like, damn, after all that love, this is how I feel about everything that I went through. And it's like, yeah, being faced with that isn't easy. You know, waking up for tomorrow's. Ooh, tomorrow's? Tomorrow? Do I need to wake up tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, child, what's about to happen, girl? Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like the best thing you can do, though, because I'm the first doctor in my family, right? And so there are a lot of people that could not come with me. And the thing that I do to balance that is just like paying it forward. So it's like, okay, I know CBC week is coming. I know mending wounds, right? It's like, come on, let's go, let's network, just putting people in the place that I've been, because I know that it can benefit them. I feel like that's how I kind of like, yeah.
Every time she goes in, you there. Every room, like sweat. Every room she goes in, you there. Have you heard of mending of wounds?
Mend the wounds. Bring the men. Bring the
Like somebody got a cut. Is that a wound that thing?
I'm not somebody.
Let me go get some bandages. Let me make a call. Get my sister on the phone for this wound that needs to be mended.
Yeah. No, that's so right. I really appreciate that, especially like because we're also both Black women. I feel like there's so much in society that's already trying to put Black women against each other, like to view each other as like competition or just like, you know, not having harmony. So it's nice having like an older Black woman. Well, you're not that much older than me, but you know, older. Not older. You really got like, you have 34 life.
You got 25.
That's why.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's the only sister. Excuse me.
What you saying right there? Oh my God. However, like, you have more experience and a person more established than I am, so it's nice, like, definitely the connection with you has helped me feel more confident in my practice and in my brand, especially because you, like, solidified the need and also, like, helped me feel confident because I just, you know, I really get that in school. Maybe it might be PW often, I don't know. But just like, just like imposter syndrome where it's like, I know what I'm talking about. But this was like really nice to like have you like also back outside. Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Yeah, I definitely fetch your cars out at work.
Yeah.
Because the moms need it. Yeah.
What's funny though is being at a PWI, which is really important. I think before getting to PWI, it's very important to know who you are, who you're not. Right? So like, I'm Jamaican. I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey, moved to Maplewood, always spent my time in Irvington, always spent my time in Newark, always spent my time in Jersey City. More than half those lists are hoods. You feel what I'm saying? So when I went to VPWI, the Catholic University of America, I was just like, I'm always going to be me regardless. Don't get this messed up. Mm-hmm. I'm here for the degree and a couple of folks. If they come with me, that's cool. If they don't, that's cool. And a lot of folks sometimes lose themselves in the PWI soup of who they are, who they identify as, just because they found better. And it's like, fam, your core isn't going to change just because you found better. Mm-hmm. So, like, you take that with you. No. And, like, you know, it'll do enough to you. You're not sure about who you are or who you're trying to be and what that really looks like.
Why did you choose Catholic University?
It's the only school that wanted me. Honestly, truly. Like, there were, like, a couple other schools, don't get me wrong, but they were all in New Jersey. And the only school I wanted to go into in New Jersey was Rutgers. Outside of that, everything would have been settling. And going to Catholic University of America, I was like, well, I get to move away from home. I get to be in D.C. If football don't work out or I don't like the football program, I'll always have the city because it was Chocolate City at that time when I came. And I think that's really important. And then I think by like my junior year, I realized, dang, you spent 3 years at this school and you really didn't take a chance or time to really get to know the city and the folks from the city. So what a lot of people make the mistake of doing when they move to a place is, my friends that's at college, they define what that city is for me. And it's like, yeah, but those people aren't the city. They came from other places. Right. You got to get to know the folks, the high schools, the beefs, the food, the cuisine, the families. What do they enjoy? Why are they into pots and pans? Go. Why do they enjoy that? And you got to remember, I'm like originally a yo before becoming a bo. Folks are like, nah, you're from DC. You've been here for 20 years. And it's like, nah, fam, I'm still from Jersey. But I love y'all. And it's like, you know, just standing on that's really important. And like, the city never let me down, so I'm still here.
Yeah. You know, I really relate to that but the thing is, I didn't really know who I was when I came. So I definitely went through different phases.
You went through so much. How did you really get to sit down and know who you are?
I went through different phases, different hair, different fashion, different things. And also like, subconsciously assimilating in a way that I didn't realize until I was talking to my little sister. And you know, the little sister, she know, because me and my sister, we shared a room up until I was 18 because I moved out. So we was very close, even though we're 9 years apart, very, very close, still all very close. So that was like a nice wake-up call. And then that's when I started the process of self-discovery. And honestly, I'm happy I went to American because I had to learn to be unapologetically me in every space, no matter who's around. And that has given me a different level of confidence about walking to a lane where it's like, you know, I can only be my most true authentic self. So you really go, or you not, and like, just put these words.
Yeah, and then I think another part of my PWI experience that was really important, and that's a word I really use because I'm just like, you just went to school with a bunch of white folks. Yeah. It's like that institution does matter. You feel what I'm saying? Between Howard and Catholic, the way they set up, speak, and function, very different. Right? And I know that because a lot of my folks are Howard. I speak from experience to answer the right questions, right? In the sociology department, there was this what's the name of those projects? I think it's like a self-study project where you pick a topic, write on it. Yeah. And for me, I was really interested in why does Catholic University recruit the way that they do, and why are there more people of color at the school? Because at that time, I think the number of us was like below 3% or something a little bit smaller than that. And I got access to the records. I got access to the years of how they recruited. I got access to what towns they were looking at. I got access to what cities they focused on. And I was like, there's a correlation here. Y'all aren't really fishing in the same swimming pool the other schools that was looking for me was fishing. And even me coming to that school, I was an exception in going to that school because I wasn't really from the school that they wanted. Like, I remember getting in Catholic, and there were 5 people at my school who was like, that was my dream school. I can't believe they accepted you before they accepted me. And I was like, who's you talking to, Mary? I was like, were you better grace than me? Yes, but don't talk to me like that. I was like, so they made like me going to Catholic even sweeter, but there was still not resentment, but like, this has to be structural, that it's only this many people of color at this school. And most folks would be like, you mean black people? Say, nah, I mean people of color, all of us, not just folks who are white. I want everybody in this group, right? And then my teacher told me, yeah, you can't write that paper. I said, I just did this research for like 4 months. Why can't I write the paper? Well, if you do, I feel like it would get to the news and it would be bad. And the guy who said it was like my favorite professor at that time, Dr. Pumar. He's Spanish. It's like, but you're Spanish. You see what the fuck it's about. I'm doing this for y'all too. He said, yeah, but you know, my job and security. And I just remember hearing these words. That was his accent. He used to tell me about his family and everything else, so I loved him. But at that point, I had to learn to fall out of love with him, because it's like, but this is doing the right thing. You knew what my project was. You didn't think eventually I would get here by design. I told you the purpose of everything that I did. I asked for the numbers. You gave me access. He's like, yeah, but I talked to my colleagues. And I was like, the fuck you talk to them for? It's for speech is us.
Did you write the paper?
Hell no. I got my A and I kept it moving. I wrote the paper. He just took all the numbers out, which gives it validity because you need the stats. No matter what you say in the paper, once you have stats, that makes it real. And they know once they take the stats away, it's just an A. It disconnected, but it's still recording.
Once I got my degree, I would have put those numbers back in and put that in the newspaper.
I was going through so much. My senior year was like a very tumultuous time, because it was like I had to come back for a 5th year. I had finished my dissertation. That was the word you used before?
Capstone, but dissertation. I think dissertation is for doctorate programs.
Did my capstone paper, and I just remember trying to figure out, like, hey, what are you gonna do next? Because like, you got your degree for your parents, you got it for yourself, but your promise to your parents was to get your degree, and the plan was, all right, well, my parents said whatever I do, they'll support me, but support from my parents didn't come in the form I thought it would come in. It was see, you should have ate that food. I see you over there yawning. You doing got you. Like, I told you about me doing trials for the NFL and stuff like that, right? For like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Them things is expensive. You gotta pay rent, food,
you gotta pay your car on your birthday.
Yeah, twice. 2 different times I slept in the car on my birthday for a tryout. And I was like, man, that support isn't supported. And then I came to realize, oh, they'll support me for what they see fit for me, but not what I want for myself. And like, if I ever sit down and I tell them the list, I've said it to their face, it's not gonna make a difference, because like, it's too late for us. I love y'all and I've accepted you for who you are. And even if I make you aware of it, what y'all gonna do for me? Nah.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm Jones. I'm Jones in DC. That's it.
Stepping into that. I feel like that also touch on like stepping into a new identity that's separate from what like the people you grew up with like see you as. Like, especially with me moving to a new city, and like growing up, they used to always tell me I talk ghetto, like my parents, so they would try to get me to like, well, I didn't even talk ghetto for I don't know what they were talking about. But they just would always be like, oh, why you sounding like that? You sound ghetto, blah, blah, blah.
They don't like seasoning?
They don't like seasoning.
Oh, that's...
season. I'm sorry. You're already in Baltimore. Like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So,
having a British accent plus the Baltimore part makes it wild.
Nah, for real. You think I would have the strongest Baltimore accent ever. But I just, no, I feel like I don't know what.
But you know, the Baltimore accent stems from the English.
Yeah, that's what makes it funny.
Yes,
So you were reinforcing it differently.
No, for real. So, like, obviously, with me moving to DC, just accepting my blackness, because my parents, I grew up in an African household, and we know what you hear sometimes where it's like, just different cultures and also different perceptions of the culture, where it's like, I've heard pretty racist things, and it's like, y'all know y'all right, I'm black, like you, we're black, you know what I'm saying? And also, I'm black and I'm American. I was born in America, I was raised around black Americans. Like, I'm seasoned, I'm sorry,
I've been mended differently, parents.
Heavy on that. So it's like, just like, even now, 2000 I talk, they'd be like, why you sound like that? You sound so ghetto or something like that. Like, please, goodbye. Like, this is how I talk, this is how I am. And I love that I can be an example for my sister, because me and my sister, we talk the same, we act the same, we're like seasoned the same. So it just like, it's nice that she has somebody that she can connect to, and somebody, her family, who looks like her and talks like her, because there's a trauma in that too, where you're the only person being asked a certain way in your family and you're being alienated. But this is the environment you raised me in. Like,
Is your sister safe from the stuff that you experienced?
yeah, okay, good.
No, that's good. I think y'all got this stuff. Let's capitalize. Here we go.
Then my big one. But yeah,
that's good.
I think there's something very important to acknowledge, and a lot of parents that come from foreign countries aren't ready or emotionally attuned for the foresight of, hey, my kid being raised here is going to become a product of this environment. No matter how hard I give them all the values that I have for my home country. I told my parents this at my mom's birthday dinner 2 days ago. Look, you guys gave me a lot of values. When I left this house, I picked and choose what I kept, and there's a lot of things I got rid of because it doesn't work for me. And that's it. And you know what? You guys don't get a choice in that.
no, it's perfect.
I was like, you guys are just, let's just be happy that I'm this polite son that loves you guys, that wants to come back for dinners, and like, I actually care about what the hell is going on. And I care enough to ask the right questions and actually care. Not care just because you're my parents. I actually care about
And
you.
that's important.
That's it. Yeah. Nobody paid me for that. I look forward to that. Somebody was like, how was your trip? I was like, they were so annoying, but it was everything I wanted. So what can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. That's where.
Yeah. So when it comes to mending wounds, what would you say the primary mission of your movement is?
To provide resources to women on the healing journey, affordable resources, impactful resources, equitable resources, take into consideration the whole, per se. Just teach women what we're not taught about healing.
Okay. Can you give me an example of each one of these resources in your own words?
Yeah, so
the work that you've done.
Of course. So like making it affordable, like I have a program that's $10 a month and provides like weekly wellness workshops, self-help resources that are free, that you may not know about, like certain stretch routines, certain meditation, sound frequencies. Because first of all, a lot of people don't even know just how much stretching in general, like doing it every day, how much it can help heal you both physically and mentally. Because a lot of trauma is stored in our body. I know I have a lot of like hip problem. So like being able to release that and do some deep breathing, like voila, I can't even tell you. Let me say. Now say, so providing resources and connecting them with people who, you know, may not show up on their For You page because they're not actively looking for it. Because like I said, you only know what you know. How you know to look it up if you don't even know what that is? And then so that kind of affordable and then also impactful, right? And also using my knowledge and creating these workshops that are really based on how to heal oneself, how to build an effective healing routine, how to make sure that you're eating foods that are good for your mind, body, and soul. So talking about how to read ingredient labels, right? Not just the calories, but look at what's in the food you're eating. And that's empowering in itself. I feel so empowered by the fact that I can go to a grocery store and I know what I'm looking for. I want food that I know the ingredients that's in it. Mm-hmm. Knowing how to use social media as a catalyst for your healing. A lot of people, they complain about social media, but they don't know how to curate their feed to make it more, you know, just personalized to the life that they're trying to create. And these are little things, little changes in your day that can be just mind-blowing and just, you know, extremely impactful. So affordable, impactful, and equitable, taking in the trauma and also the impact that race has on healing and the resources available to you. Because I always say, my programs, I speak for the experience of a black woman, so I'm gonna relate. I'm gonna attract black women, like even, you know what I'm saying? But that is the one.
You know what? I did the one. She's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I ain't never been pretty safe.
Yeah.
So I speak of the experience of a black woman. So and the beautiful thing and kind of sad thing about being a black woman, you kind of exist in this world of intersectionality where you take on a lot of different identities and form your whole experience. And while it can help you connect with others, that means that a lot of the societal, pressures and aggression, they come towards you and you feel it, not just because you're a woman, because you're a black woman. So being able to create a safe space for women to express, specifically black women, to express their pains, their frustrations in a way that's going to be understood and digested, because we are a community of black women going through things, that helps make it equitable. That being said, I don't necessarily feel morally right telling a person like, oh, you white, so you can't come to the party. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, would a white woman see as much value as a black woman sees in my resources? I don't know.
But a white woman who wants to learn about other people's experiences could benefit from your program too, because I think, we're, as much as we want to be siloed in our own black community, we're going to have to interact with others, and others are going to have to know how to interact with us. And so I do think it would be valuable for other people to
so providing that space, but also not silencing my identity is very important, and I think just as empowering to me to empower each other.
Yeah, I think hey, proud of you. Just want to say
Thank you.
I just want you to know. I fuck with the vibe. Literally, number 2, where do men play a part in your platform and what you've built? Like, for example, as a man who's a partner to a woman, how do I support what you have going on? And are men able to subscribe and partake in the resources?
Got you. So as like a man, I definitely feel like sharing the resources and sharing my information to women in your life that would be beneficial would be helpful. But honestly speaking, at first my program was for everybody. However, I had to lock in on my expertise, and genuinely speaking, I don't think I'm the best resources for a male to come to, because so much of my practice is not only my education, but it's also my personal experiences. And as a woman, I don't know what it feels like to walk inside a man's shoes. While I can help and I can provide compassion and empathy, there's just simply certain things that men go through that I acknowledge they go through that if you ask me, and I'm straight up, I'm not gonna lie and pretend I know something I don't. I'm gonna say and tell you I don't know. I gotta read up more.
That's outside my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's outside, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely but that doesn't mean I've neglected men at all, especially when I worked in the court system and we had a partnership. So I worked in BARJ, which is like Behavioral and Restorative Justice Unit for juveniles.
Tell me more.
Okay, cool. So, I was a mentor for young ladies like age 13 through 17 who had been previously incarcerated, and they were now on probation. So some of them also had ankle monitors, some of them did not. However, in our small interactions, we would have group events with young males in the system, and I definitely saw a lot of the, emotions are processed differently and shown differently, more likely like women versus men, right? So a lot of guys, BC got a lot of hood beef, so a lot of the males, they come together, it's always a fight going on. It's always something going on. And there's stuff like that with the women too, but it was just a little bit more different. One, because the women's unit is typically smaller. It seems as though in society, young males are more likely to go into that type of lifestyle. I think women generally are told that's a masculine thing to do. So you're more likely to see a male drug dealer than you are to see a woman drug dealer. It's just that simple. Nowadays, things are kind of changing a little bit, but it's still prevalent when you look at the justice system. So with that, I definitely see a room for just more nurturing things for men that are less punitive and more encouraging and educational, because I do think black males in general, they're just stereotyped and they're given an aggressive label when sometimes he's sad. You get me? He lost 2 of his closest homeboys, or lost a grandpa, lost a grandma. He going through it and he don't know how to express that. So I think Yes, of course. So, but I feel like that more so, I could see myself partnering maybe with already males that have already are interested in, well, starting to scale that up.
Or raising risers.
Or raising risers, like one that's open to like the males as well. However, as an individual, I just got to be humble and know, you know, I can't solve every problem and be in the lane that I know I can build and sustain and be good in, rather than trying to, you know, grab everybody.
And your work with the history, she did that.
It's coming out.
But I wonder if, like, because I do think in women, some of their trauma comes from their relationship with Black men and the messaging that they hear from Black men. Could you incorporate in Mending Wounds some education on how Black men can communicate with Black women?
Yeah,
More effective.
for sure. And I see that being a beautiful wellness workshop, a live session, because that's another thing in our community where, you know, you hear the history, the online about like the relationship between the Black man and the Black woman has just been so historically, just systematically just creating this conflict where it's hard for us to see one another. And you know, we already have gotten a little stuck, so I'm going to give y'all some history. Like, you know, they used to have breeding farms. Like, that's insane. Where, like, Black men are forced to have sex with different women that could even be their mother. Imagine the psychological warfare that does to people. Like, I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
They so much has systematically been done to break the relationships between the Black woman and the Black man, that there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. There's a lot that goes into wellness. Yeah. Because at the root of my organization, I like getting into the root work. I like getting into, let's look at the daily routine, let's look at the eating, let's look at the mindfulness habits. Because I feel like there's already a lot of practitioners that are focused more so on like, let's look at the cognitive theories, and a lot of that, you know, the research. I like going to the basics. Like, what do you do before you brush your teeth? You know what I'm saying? Making it personable to people. So that, I definitely see that. You know what I mean? And especially for the population I work.
Then she dropped alarms and she's like, yeah, bark. Like for you to come back to do another conversation with my one Trey, or if it's just you, like try not to, let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out. Like, you can't go find like, let's talk it out. And they had
The sign, I'm like, you're so I miss that. What if we let it just clap a little, kick right down? Oh, that's crazy. Nah, but I think
Your boy Trey.
Yeah, there's a larger conversation for you and Trey to have that we could be a part of, that we could learn. And then like we'll work on the other side of the workshop. So he's a therapist out of Virginia, currently a professor at Virginia State University. That was the interview that I just dropped last week, and he was the In My Shoes interview that I dropped where I shouted you out with the event that you have going on, you know. You want to shout out the event you got going on? It's going to be done by the time this comes out, but you can shout it out because there's going to be more events that you got coming up.
Yeah.
Raising risers.
Raising risers.
raising the risers. The risers. Raising.
Risers are what it children.
Yes.
So yeah, we're doing a Daughters watch party. Daughters is a film on Netflix that follows 4 Black girls in DC as they're preparing to attend a father-daughter dance with their dads who are in prison. So imagine going to a dance at a prison. That's got to be traumatic in itself.
Yeah.
But it just talks about, from the Black girls' perspective, the impact their father's assets has on them. And it's really interesting and kind of heartbreaking to see that. So we're going to have that showing, and then we're going to talk about the impact of Black fathers in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your makers
before. So yeah, no, for real. Because that's the conversation I need to get in.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
October 12th. Judy,
it's going to come out probably.
Right.
But with that being said, how has your work made you feel?
Powerful. It's been healing to me. And you know, I remember when I was younger and they were teaching us about careers, and I was in my head, I was like, I'm gonna create my own career because I don't like none of the ideas. And it's so crazy because every time somebody would ask, would you ever be in business? I'd be like, no, that's too much paperwork. And like, so now being able to like now be like, it's just a full circle moment, honestly, where it's like I almost prophesized this when I was younger and I didn't know what it was gonna look like. I knew I had a passion for health. I loved helping people, and I was in a state of healing myself. So it's honestly been just so breathtaking word. I don't know, but
It's a word.
Yeah,
it's a word. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to see all the trials, the errors, and just watching it blossom, because I remember what I started with like 0, and I had an idea, and I was just flowing.
How long have you been doing mending ones?
2 years, but it just got incorporated. Thank you. But it just got like the licensing and registration to become a business like in May. So it's still been good. Like, especially when I reach out to organizations like to host, because I did a lot of workshops for providers, because that's another thing where providers get burnout and secondary trauma, and they're asked a lot, especially if you're in the healthcare or social work field. We ain't getting all the money, you know what I mean? But y'all want a lot of work from us. We tired. So providing a space for healing, especially because a lot of people who go into these fields, they have a reason why. You don't just go into heavy work just to go into it. I don't know. If you do, baby, I got some awakening for you. It ain't all that.
Yeah.
So it's been powerful for me. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
How many people do you do this work with?
So depends, right? So I have a social media aspect, so that does pretty well in terms of numbers, and that's great. Like, I've had videos go up to 1 million, a couple 100,000, and then as far as individual clients, that's something I'm still bidding up. I work with a couple organizations, like 3 organizations, and I have 2 currently in the conversation. I enjoy working with organizations because I like that their community doesn't necessarily have to pay. It's typically the organization that pays for it. But now I have 2 health programs that I'm currently just, building out a funnel for, so to increase that awareness and also get people to see another resource they have. It is difficult kind of breaking into the field because this is kind of something new, but it kind of makes me want to do it more. I got one. I like that. Let me see the first. Yeah.
Do you see yourself doing more intimate work with raising risers?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
What would it look like, for example?
Like just creating spaces with healing for Black children and having conversations about some of the issues they're going through, communication, because I do have a lot of experience working with our Black youth, from like the jails to hospitals to now I work at a community center. So I see a lot of what goes on. Like, a lot of my clients, they have fathers in jail, or like, it's just the reality of the population we work with, a community we work with. So just hosting events that give Black people, like children, a space, and also like give their families to a space, because it takes a village.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think those are voices that would fit well with Gal and Say for what we covered, or just making a space for people to tell their story?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do, because there's just a feeling that I really can't even put into words, of being able to tell your story and being able to talk about your resilience and being able to just have a space to potentially inspire and motivate others and let them know they're not alone. So I think there's a lot of healing that can be done.
Okay. On the structure part, in terms of who you work with, do you run this all by yourself?
Yes, right now I do.
Okay. What are you doing to take care of you?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a productivity junkie. Like, I love, I know you're looking up like, so I make it an effort not to overwork, because I do still have a 9 to 5.
This is
but I'm not gonna lie. I
to say,
I am gonna lie. Like, I love working. Like, I do, but I make it a priority. I spend a lot of time in nature. Nature is very healing for me, so I go on nature walks. I'm right now in an area where like I'm fasting, like from certain things like plant-based medicine and alcohol, and that's healing to me. I do a lot of prayer work. Spirituality is a big part of my daily routine, so that helps with that. But it is a struggle, you know what I'm saying? So it is like still trying to find the balance. But right now, affirmations, I have an affirmation app that like I love it. It always comes on time. Yes, it's called I Am. The person who made I Am is anointed or something, because let me tell you, every time it comes, it's like on point, right on time. So I'm on it too.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, I was just saying.
I
That's the question.
I am YouTube. I love watching shows. I stay watching Everybody Hates Chris. That's my show. That's my show.
Have you watched the remake, the reboot?
Nah.
Everybody still hates Chris.
I'm scared.
I just saw the commercial. Was that a word?
But I'm a hater when it comes to reboots, because I feel like nobody can beat me.
Leave it alone.
Right. Let it be. But it might be cool. I want to get back into Abbott Elementary, so TV is very
I love Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
He got money.
He have money.
She's really so she has
So I love watching TV. I love going out on nature walks and just breathing meditating. That's what helps me daily.
Okay. And boundaries. Do you have good work boundaries with yourself?
Yes, I do. I know when I need to take a break. I'm like, when I need to take a break. And that's having a routine. I kind of just started waking up earlier, and that's helped me a lot because it's helped me. Now I do time blocks for certain things. Because sometimes, like, especially when you're running a business and the startup phase, there's so much to do, you're super excited, you just see the vision and the passion, it's like, yeah, I want to get it all done. Yeah. And like, no, I want to get it done by October, by this. So having work boundaries on setting certain time blocks and knowing when it's time for me to rest, I'm not about to work on this is very important for me.
Yeah. Something Manal told me, because I was like that, where I was just like all over the place, just trying to do a bunch of things with no real plan, just like doing things as they came up. And Manal was like, well, if you go that way, you probably won't accomplish as much as you could accomplish. Something that could take 3 months is going to take you a year to do it because you're just all over the place. So I actually started like writing a monthly calendar with like, okay, I'm going to work out and take a bath from 8 to 12 or from 8 to 10. And then I'm going to do raising rajas from 12 to 4. And then I'm going to rest on this day. And I'm traveling.
I love time block.
Thank you. So I'm gonna have a pedicure once a month.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm waiting to her by self-care stuff.
Then we're doing a podcast, you know. Yeah, so that's really helpful.
Yeah. No, you're doing the first job.
Thank you.
Go.
Let's clap that.
All right. So where can the people find you?
On social media at Mending Wounds Co.
Oh, this is your camera. This is like the group one, but this is like your joint for like that. This one is just showing this, like
okay,
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so y'all can find me at Mending Wounds Co. on Instagram, and yeah, that's it. And then my email is mendingwoundsco@gmail.com. It's mendingwoundsco. Yes, that's all.